This is me, Tony, reporting all the way from London in Sydenham in our office. And Caroline, over to you.
Hey. My name's Caroline and I'm in Tower Bridge. Imagine that. It's very cold out here. I don't know if it's cold where you are. I'm part of a healthy food clinic, and we're out today to present a healthy show and giving out tips and anything that's around health we're about to show you today. Back to you, Tony.
Fantastic. Maybe I can help you answer some of those questions if you want.
Okay. I want to know more about sustainable starches and how that can help or not help diabetes, because they say starch is not really good. So I want to know what type of starch is good for you and what's not good for you, because I like eating my yam, my soups, my hard food. Please help me, Tony. What should I?
Okay, I mean, to be honest with you, just quick on it. You see, what some people get confused with is they hear things like resistant starch, and they say that resistant starch is good for your gut health, which it is. It's good for your gut health. And then you have starch, which people just get confused. Well, if they say resistant starch is good, then why is starch not good for me if I'm diabetic and so on? Well, to be honest with you, when you talk about starch itself, starch is actually, when you look at it, it's made of glucose molecules, which are all linked together. Yeah. Now, most starch is actually broken down into glucose. So obviously what they provide a quick source of energy. But the thing is, if you are diabetic, then what it does, starch actually spikes your blood sugar level. So your blood sugar spikes. Now it only spikes if you don't accompany that starch with some fiber or some protein. So really, if you love your starch, then you need to make sure you love your fiber too. Because if you love your fiber, then you can have your starch. Now, you mentioned, let's go to resistant starch. Resistant starch is, listen to the word, resistant. Now, what it means is it's resistant to digestion in the small intestines. That means it doesn't get absorbed by the small intestine. So therefore, it bypasses that and goes to the large intestine. Yeah. So in the large intestines, when you look at resistant starch it acts as a prebiotic. So therefore, it's good for us. It's good for our gut health. It connects with our soluble fiber, and it helps with our gut microbiome. And anything that we all know already, that 70% of our immune system is in our gut. So you are what you eat. When it comes to your gut, is your second brain. Now, there's different types of starch, resistant starch you can get. And some people say, where do I get resistant starch from? You can get what we call the RS1, which is from the whole grains and the seeds. You can get resistant starch from there, especially if you're looking to improve your gut health. You can get it from raw potatoes. You can get it from cooked foods like rice and potatoes, but they have to cool down so that you can get that resistant starch. Also, you can get chemically modified ones, which are found in processed foods. So really, starch is completely different from resistant starch. And also, if you're diabetic, then obviously the only way you can get away with having starchy foods is if you're accompanied with say, something with fiber, high in fiber and protein. I hope that answers that question in starch resistance.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
Okay, I think we had some people still having problems registering, but I think we're going to have to get started. That was just a clip. Those of you that wanted to hear more of that was just a clip of yesterday. So that clip from yesterday is available. I think you can send a link out to anybody that wants it. But if you need that clip, please reach out to Caroline. Caroline will probably put it on the chat so that everyone can see it. But tonight is not about starch or resistant starch or yam or okra. Yeah, today is really about sleeping. And I know some people fell asleep. That's why they're not on this call.
Definitely.
I don't know whether it's a good,
Definitely. I
I don't know whether
don't
it's a
even
good thing.
understand.
Exactly. I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. But anyway, we will know by the time we finish the show. Yeah. So
Mhm.
sleeping, one of these things that we find out with sleeping is a lot of people underestimate what sleep does to the body. And some people come to me and say, Tony, I can survive on 4 hours sleep. You may be able to survive on 4 hours sleep, but what damage are you doing to your body with less sleep? And that's really what we want to talk about. Normally, this workshop will last for, if you're coming to the workshop, usually it lasts for 2 hours. Now, I'm going to just keep it simple, keep it short. And anyone that wants to know really more and more about this, then all you need to do is let us know. And then what you can do is book yourself up into one of the actual workshops. Now, we do have a program where you can actually subscribe for a whole year and you get to come to the workshops for free. So that's something that Caroline can send you a flyer about also. But this one is just going to be a short one. We're probably going to be on the call for about half an hour. And then we're probably going to take a few questions. Caroline will probably look at a few questions. But like I said, it's a shorter version of the big thing. Because sleep is massive. Sleep is massive. And hopefully when you see what I'm talking about, you will understand how massive it is. Now, the good news for you is that if you're not getting enough sleep, then by actually listening to this, you'll understand why. And then the good news is that it can change. You can go from not having enough sleep to having plenty of sleep. You can go from not having enough sleep and having some illnesses or lifestyle diseases to finally getting over those lifestyle diseases. A lot of people, for example, some people have high blood pressure and they think they've tried everything. Their diet's changed, this has changed, that's changed, but they still have high blood pressure. And one of the things they don't look at sometimes is the amount of sleep that they're having. And I'm going to go through that also with you today. So, Caroline, is there anything you want to say before I get started?
No, hi everyone. Thanks for coming on today. My name's Caroline. I'm a nutrition plant-based chef, and I'm really excited to see you all. I've come into one of our workshops. We're based down in Sydenham. And yes, please enjoy it and don't fall asleep.
Well, you know what? I have a habit of making people fall asleep because I'm the sleep nutritionist. But anyway, let's get started.
Okay, let's get
So
started.
I'm going to push a PowerPoint up in a minute. So hopefully you will see that PowerPoint. Once you see that PowerPoint, Caroline, just give me a shout so that I know it's there. And then we can push start that. Let me just make sure that I'm actually in this. Good news is there anyone sleeping? If you're sleeping, just shout out to us. Yeah. If you're sleeping, yeah. I'm sure you're not going to be able to say that. Okay, so my PowerPoint's just loading up now. Here we go. So hopefully, once you see it, let me know, Caroline, please. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go for it. Okay, let's see. So here we go. We are almost on liftoff. Okay. So that's technology. It's always good when you're not sleeping. Okay, so here we go. So I've got the PowerPoint that's come out now. Here we go. So hopefully you can see my screen.
It's coming. Yes, we can see it. Yes.
Great. Let's put the PowerPoint on again. Okay. So what you can see on the screen, hopefully, is you can see sorry, you can see it. Okay. Oops. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Okay. I think I've done something where I can't see the screen. Okay. Okay, here we go. So sleep better, stress less. And this is really what it's all about. Let me make you, Caroline, a co-host so that therefore, if anyone's trying to come in, you can help.
I can see. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go. So sleep better, stress less. Now that's really what you want to do, sleep better, stress less. Now, obviously we're from Healthy Food Clinic. If you are interested in coming down to the workshop, we have workshops in Sydenham and you get to see it live. You get to also experience the foods that will help you sleep better. Cool. Okay, so just moving on from that slide. Where's my slide playing? For some reason, let me just make sure that I've got this right. I'm going to unshare my screen because for some reason I cannot move the slide. And maybe it's me playing games. Screen. Okay. I hope you can see my screen. Yeah? Okay. So,
Yes.
okay. So, you know, I'm one of these people, I believe every day is a gift. Every day we have is a gift. But it's not just a gift, it's a gift for us to fulfill our purpose in life. So, but to fulfill our purpose in life, we also need to be healthy. So what we have is we have a lot of people today, unfortunately, they're alive and they want to fulfill their purpose, but unfortunately they're not well enough. So we want to increase your health span during your lifespan. Your health span and your lifespan should be in line so that you can fulfill your purpose while you're alive. Now, you can also visit us in healthyfoodclinic.com and find out more information about some of the workshops. Now, what you'll find on healthyfoodclinic.com, you'll also see, if you want to, after finishing this, you want to look at what recipes, some of the things we've mentioned. There's a small booklet that you can actually purchase on Healthy Food Clinic. Then we also have a number of workshops, and you can see food addictions, immune boosts of the buses, revamp your kitchen. The one we're doing today, sleep better, stress less, get focus for adults, get focus for kids, and African and American nutrition, but we have the one for African and Caribbean nutrition. Now, fun fact, did you know that there are 10 times more vitamin C on the outside of an orange skin than on the inside? Some people throw the skin away. This is what we're doing a lot of time, where we're actually throwing away the best part of our food. Imagine that. Okay? So, just moving on. Now, what we're going to cover is we're going to cover a little bit about what you eat because you don't have the time, and when to eat also. Again, we're going to cover a little bit about it, but if you want to see the full version of that, obviously you come to the workshop. Now, importance of this. Now, it has been said, studies have shown that we need between 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. This is really for optimal health. 7 to 9 hours sleep a night. I have a lot of people that come to me and say, Tony, I can survive on 4 hours. Yes, you can survive on 4 hours, but your body inside is having problems and you don't know about it until much later. You can survive in 4 hours and you have high blood pressure. You can survive in 4 hours and you have diabetes or you're overweight. So you've got to be very careful about saying you can survive in 4 hours. You're surviving, but you're not living. So, but the other thing we find, so for some strange reason, women need to sleep more than men. Now, I don't know why, because I don't think it's fair, but they have 8 to 9 hours sleep, and men, we're talking about 7 to 8 hours. That's really to regenerate the body. So when you sleep, your body gets rejuvenated and regenerated. And we'll talk more about that as we go through the presentation. Now, look at what happens when you sleep. It will actually boost your immune system. So your immune system is responsible for so many things in terms of, especially if we're looking to fight illnesses, if we're looking to fight any damaged cells or abnormal cells, the immune system is very important. In fact, if the immune system is compromised, then guess what? It's very easy for you to get ill, for you to end up with lifestyle diseases, for you to end up, but some people may end up with cancer and so on. So the immune system has to be strong. So the sleeping well will boost your immune system. And one of the reasons why, is that the cytokines, which are the protein that fight inflammation and infection, they're only actually made while you're sleeping. Yeah. So really, what you want to do is, obviously, if you're not sleeping enough, you're not having enough of this. So therefore, you're not getting enough of the protein, which is the cytokines, to be able to fight inflammation. The other thing that you'll look at, your immune system. Your immune system we talk about. Now, one of the things that you need to understand about your immune system, we talk about the immune system, but sometimes some of us don't realize what it does. Yeah. So we know that we get the cytokines that are produced and released during sleep. And these are small proteins that are critical in controlling the growth and activity of other immune system cells and blood cells. Okay? Now, if we just have a look at the immune system diagram, you can see that we've got the white blood cells that are traveling around looking for any problems. Yeah. And then as they find problems like pathogens, which could be cancerous, it could be, they now fight and destroy them. And then what happens next, if you look very carefully, you will find that the antibodies are produced, therefore making sure that if that pathogen was going to come again, it will be dealt with later on. So you can see that that's how it works. Now, if our immune system is weak, then this is not going to work the way it should work. And also, it may let some pathogens through. That's it. On that side. So I'm just going to, if you can just mute your mics, please, because I think somebody's got the mic on and I'm thinking, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to mute everybody. And then that's the way it's going to be easier. Because otherwise, we've got some recordings going on. Caroline, can you mute yourself when you're ready? Okay, so just moving on. So let's move on. Now, obviously, if your immune system is not strong, the studies show, this is a study that showed that you end up getting catching colds. And this is one where you see that the less you sleep, the more chances that you'll get a cold. So that's an example of your weak immune system too. Okay? Now, one of the things that you tend to find with doctors, especially when you're ill, they always say, go and have a good night's sleep. And the reason why they don't do that is because they know the cytokines will actually be produced while you're sleeping. And those will help fight off inflammation and infection. So when a doctor says go home to sleep, he actually knows what he's actually talking about from that end. As you can see here, the study that was done in 2015 showed that sleeping less than 6 hours roughly makes you 4 times more likely to develop an illness, or get the cold, for example. So also what we have lack of sleep can also increase obesity and increase hunger. Now, by at least around about 30%. So somebody can get obese, unfortunately, or overweight and be always hungry. And some of us have this feeling where we feel hungry all the time. And that could be due to the fact of lack of sleep. And some of you will say, well, why would that be due to lack of sleep? What you need to know is there are 2 hormones that are produced, and they're produced while you're sleeping. So let's just look at those. Those are the ghrelin hormones, yeah, and the leptin hormone. Now, the ghrelin hormone is actually produced on the first half of your sleep, and that increases your appetite. That means you feel that when you wake up, you're going to be very hungry. Okay, so the first half of your sleep, your ghrelins are actually produced. The second half of your sleep, which is say like the next 4 hours, yeah, if you're 8 hours. So 4 hours for the ghrelins and 4 hours for the leptins. Now, normally, if you imagine you only sleep for 4 hours, then what's going to happen when you wake up? You're going to have a lot of appetite. That means you don't have the leptin hormones that can kind of like give you that feel full factor. So really, the ghrelins now are dominant. And this is how somebody can end up being overweight or obese, because they're not getting enough sleep. They've got too many ghrelin hormones. Therefore, that's a feeling hungry, feeling appetite. But if they slept for longer, then they would have a balance of leptin. That means that they will find that they're not so hungry and they're not looking to eat all the time. And this happens sometimes. Let's say, for example, you're studying for exam. What you tend to find, you tend to be snacking all the time because your lack of sleep and you've got too many ghrelin hormones. So that's talking about the leptins and ghrelins. That's why it can link to that. Now, also, there's a lot of people that have high blood pressure, and they've tried everything. But the one thing people don't realize is sleeping also can improve your blood pressure. So that's another thing that. So, for example, repeated studies show significant increase in blood pressure the day following the night of insufficient sleep. So this is research showing that if you don't sleep enough the previous day, then you find that your blood pressure is higher the next day. Interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So that's what we have. So from there, okay, now we have people that have sleep apnea, and they're always given like a breathing machine to open up their airways. And also, by studies show that once they're eating the right type of food, like a diet, they can actually start sleeping better. You tend to find that sleeping again is helping people with high blood pressure, because what they find is the pressure is going down. So just to sleep now, good sleep also boosts your memory. So before I go to boost memory, let me just stop the sharing screen, and I'm just going to ask Caroline just before we get going on more topics. Is there any questions? Any questions? And let me just quickly just put you on the spotlight. Yeah. Any questions?
What about melatonin supplements?
Okay, melatonin supplements.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so melatonin supplements, you tend to find that a lot of people tend to look at that when they're having problems with sleeping. Now the challenge is that the research is not conclusive on that. Yeah. So what you tend to find is they're not sure in terms of what it's doing for children. They actually feel that maybe it might be a little bit not. They're trying to say that it's not that good for children. That's what they're saying. So the melatonin, remember, is actually a hormone that your brain actually produces in response to darkness. So, and that melatonin is what gets you to sleep more, doesn't it? Yeah. And but you can produce that. You can produce that in the brain. Now, the challenge is like we said, but in terms of adults, not much has been saying. But what we prefer you to do, we prefer you to get this from produce it naturally. Yeah, that's what I'll say about that. Okay.
How can you produce it naturally? How can you produce it naturally? Through food? Or chemical based,
There's a
your
number of
body?
foods that you can eat. No. There's a number of foods that you can eat, and those foods are something that we cover later on.
Okay.
But what I will say here is that what you need to understand is this melatonin is actually a hormone which your brain produces in response to darkness. So when it's dark, yeah, it kind of produces that also. Melatonin supplements are becoming very popular, but their safety are debatable at the moment. The research is unclear how melatonin supplements might affect children during or after sleep. Yeah? So that's another problem that there is too. However, there may be a resistance built up if you tend to find the body can't do it itself. You can use supplements. But to be honest with you, if you're doing the right things, and some of this that you said, what kind of foods can you eat? Obviously, have you heard of pistachio, dried berries, all kinds of things like this? There's like nuts and so on. These things will help you in terms of the production of melatonin.
What about cherries?
Yeah, that's right. You just said that just now, cherries. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I hope that answered your question. So meanwhile, we'll get started again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were talking about boosting the actual. I hope this is the chart that we're talking about. Yeah. So Now, the good news for you also is sleep also can boost our memory. Now, a lot of people don't realize that in terms of if you don't get enough sleep, then your memory doesn't flush out the toxins. So as you can see here, if you're not getting enough sleep, then what happens is you can end up with a higher chance of getting Alzheimer's. So what you see is sleep allows your brain to consolidate your memory. Memory access and recall erodes quite rapidly with lack of sleep. So you might find that your brain fog, your recalling of memory because you're not sleeping. People who experience shorter periods of sleep and difficulty falling asleep tend to have an increase in beta amyloid plaques. Now, those beta amyloid plaques are the ones that they find in a lot of Alzheimer's patients in terms of they are the difference between someone that doesn't have Alzheimer's in most cases and someone that does. Now, those beta amyloid plaques, they're built up from metals as well as fats. So they're saying, where is the metals coming from? And a lot of people are having certain types of cookware, certain types of material. It could be the metal from the fish, all kinds of things into their bloodstream, and they're traveling around the body. And then also you're having lots of saturated fats, which are combining with the metals, which are making up the beta amyloid plaques. So that's another thing that you need to look out for is do I have lots of metals in my body? Am I taking a lot of fat, saturated fats, trans fats, all these bad fats that we're looking at? So you can see what happens, the normal brain, and you can see the difference between a normal brain, a mild cognitive impairment one, which you can see that dark black, and then look at the Alzheimer's one, which is it's clear to see. That's why you tend to find the memory loss. Okay, so now, like I said, most people do not want metals or chemicals going into their from their pans and to their foods. So some of them, that's what's happening on that side. Now, you would have seen a video I sent out probably just a couple of days ago if you're on one of our channels, which is a very interesting interview about non-stick and PTAS, which is to do with the chemicals that are used to make non-sticks, which are supposed to be, they're supposed to not scratch off, they're supposed to not come into the food, but research shows that they are coming into the food and they are getting into the body, they get in the bloodstream and they are causing damage. And they have been linked to a number of illnesses, including cancer. Okay, now what we want to do is look at the cycle of sleep. The cycle of sleep. Obviously awake, then usually what happens is you have your first part of your sleep is usually, you probably have a little bit of a light sleep, but it's usually light, deep sleep, then light again, then REM sleep. You know, it's cycles around. So as you can see here, deep sleep amounts to 15 to 20% of your total sleep. REM sleep, which is rapid eye sleep, amounts to 5 to 20% of your total sleep. And light sleep amounts to 50% of the total sleep. Now, each of these sleeps, each part of these play a major role in your body regenerating and rejuvenating. So just looking at this, so what you'd say is, for example, you might be awake for probably awake, then you for REM, for deep sleep, look at your 19% of your sleep is deep sleep. So just looking at the side, you can see how much of your sleep's there. Light sleep is the bulk of the sleep. So just look at the different sleep processes. So your light sleep, look at the things that it does. Your light sleep, you've got the longest period of sleep, making up about 50%. Your muscles, when you have light sleep, they actually begin to relax and your body temperature drops. Your nervous system begins to shut down senses so that you're protected from sleep interruption. Your memory building, and then your body is recovering and re-energizing begins here. So body recovering and re-energizing begins at light sleep. So that is your light sleep. Then when you go into deep sleep, then what happens here is it's the most restorative. It restores your body the most, and it rejuvenates your body most at this stage. Yeah? It refreshes your immune system. Your muscles grow. You know, the muscles grow. So if you're a sports person and you have an injury, then you need a lot of deep sleep. Your muscles grow and repair here. Your brain flushes out the toxins. Now, some people don't realize we have toxins in our brain. So some of us are having negative thoughts when we wake up because guess what? We haven't slept enough and we've left some toxins in our brain. Now, most adults on average sleep about 15 to 20% of their sleep is deep. Yeah. Now, ideally, you need at least 90 minutes of deep sleep a night. Obviously, it creates a drop in your blood pressure, total relaxation of your arms, your legs, and standardizes your breathing and heart rates. Typically occurs in the first half of the night. Protect yourself from interruptions that may wake you up. So you don't want to be interrupted while you're having a deep sleep, because if you're interrupted while you're having a deep sleep, then some of these things are not going to happen, and they are major things to rejuvenate and restore your body. Now you have rapid eye movement sleep. Yeah, this makes up to 5 to 20% of your total sleep. Ideally, we need at least 90 minutes per night. Energizes your body and mind, helps your memory consolidation and creativity. So if you're someone that's into creativity, then you need a lot of this sleep, REM sleep. The majority of REM sleep is achieved in the second half of the night. So cutting sleep short can reduce your REM sleep. So if you're sleeping, say 4 or 5 hours, then you're not getting much REM sleep. Then that means your memory consolidation is not happening as much as it should be, and you're not going to be as creative as you should be. So that's where you look at the cycle. So that's the cycle itself. Just looking at how the body uses nutrients and hormones to produce sleep. So let's have a look. How does it produce? What we have is we have sunshine, we have tryptophan, amino acids plus vitamin B6, magnesium. And then what happens is it now produces the serotonin. Now, serotonin, a lot of people look at that as something that keeps you up. Now, what you want to do is to get the melatonin you need to be produced for sleeping, then you need to be producing serotonin during the daytime. And then that aids in the producing of melatonin for your sleep. So you've got to look at what? Sunshine, exercise, tryptophan, amino acids, B6s, magnesium. All these will help you produce your serotonin. And serotonin is a feel-good factor also. So that also should make you feel good. Your mood should be good also. But by the time you get to the evening and the darkness comes, your melatonin should be there, produced, ready for you to sleep, have a nice sleep. So, Caroline, yeah, just before I move on to the next slide.
Yes. So, using an alarm clock, is that a problem, especially if you have to hit the snooze button? Is that good or healthy for you or bad?
Now, remember, what you have to understand is the full sleep cycle takes 90 minutes.
Mm.
That's one thing you've got to remember. We talked about the 90 minutes for your REM sleep. So to go through light sleep, so if you look at the way it works that night, what happens is you first go through light sleep, then you go through deep sleep, then you go through light sleep again, and then you go through rapid eye movement sleep. Yeah. Now you can't really control where you'll be in the cycle when your alarm goes off. Yeah. So if you wake up early and you're considering going back to sleep, it's wise to consider if you're going to have at least 90 minutes before you wake up again. And the reason why is because when you're awakened during your deep sleep or your REM sleep, it has been known to leave people groggy, and less responsive during the day. Yeah. There's even some research that shows that when we're awakened during a REM, we have a more negative self-image and thoughts throughout the day. So some people, they go through the day negative and have negative self-image because they are not getting the right type of sleep, or they're not getting enough of the right type of sleep. Or they're being awakened in the middle of REM sleep or deep sleep.
Okay, so you saying switch off all your alarms on your phones?
Well, the thing is, this is remember we said we need between, say, like 7 to 9 hours. Yeah. With men, 7 to 8 hours. Women, 8 to 9 hours. So if you will automatically get up naturally. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Listen, I don't need an alarm when I wake up. My body automatically gets up because you've trained your body to flush itself up, to get rid of the toxins, and therefore you're up there. Yeah. Okay?
So switch all alarms off.
No, you can switch your alarm off. But if I was a man, then my alarm will go off after, say, 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've gone through the cycle, haven't I? If I'm a woman, my alarm will go off at like 8 hours to 9 hours. You see?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So then the question.
Right.
Okay.
That's good. It's answered.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's quickly go. Okay. Good. Okay. So what we want to do is obviously the melatonin is what we want to produce. Now tryptophan. A lot of people go to me. What's tryptophan? It's an amino acid found in animal food. Now the problem with animal food, it gets there's so many good things in it, and there's so many bad things in it, and it gets crowded. The brain gets crowded with bad things. So what we advise people to do is get their tryptophan from plant-based food, which will result in a more efficient conversion of the serotonin that we need. And remember, the serotonin will eventually be converted, will help us produce the melatonin that we need for sleep. So, as we said, tryptophan is an essential amino acid that can be produced by the human body and must be obtained through your diet, primarily from animals and plant-based proteins. Tryptophan plays a role in the production of serotonin, a mood stabilizer, and melatonin, which helps you regulate your sleep. So you've got your serotonin, that's a mood stabilizer, and you've got your melatonin, which helps you regulate the pattern. Other things that will help are the magnesium, which help us regulate our stress, reduce inflammation, promote muscle relaxation, and also help us achieve a more deep sleep by boosting the serotonin levels. So if we're looking to boost, it has been shown, if we're looking to boost our serotonin, then we should have foods that are rich in magnesium. Okay? The serotonin is, like we said before, it's a feel-good hormone that increases your positivity, relaxation, and helps you feel awake. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing to have these foods that will help you increase the serotonin. It also helps you regulate your sleep and impacts on your sleep-wake cycle. A great one to have is kiwi. Kiwi has a high levels of serotonin. So that's what we have. Serotonin is a chemical in the brain that can affect mood. Eating foods that contain essential amino acids are known as the tryptophan and can help the body to produce more serotonin. Okay? Melatonin foods for better sleep, we have, as we see. Now, remember we said melatonin is produced in the brain and is triggered by lack of light. So when it's dark, then that's when your melatonin is produced in the brain. It helps it helps wind the body down, wind the body down to a more lethargic and ready to sleep. It helps regulate our sleep cycles. Difficulty sleeping due to lack of melatonin production, focus on increasing your serotonin production during the day, like I said earlier, and also consume foods rich in melatonin. Now, we're talking about steps in terms of efficiency. You need to avoid common deficiencies. Common deficiencies are like vitamin D deficiencies, vitamin C. We have so many different deficiencies that we have that could cause the fact that you won't be producing a lot of serotonin. Okay, so Caroline, any questions or so far? Any more questions?
Yeah. How many hours does our children need to sleep?
Well, it varies actually. It varies, but studies show that maybe toddlers that are probably 2 years old need probably around about 11 to 14 hours sleep. Then you've got the 3 to 5 year olds, which are kind of preschool size, looking at a little bit less, maybe 10 to 13 hours. Then you've got those that are between the ages of 6 to 12, you're looking at 9 to 12 hours. And one of the problems we have is people are not getting that. Those children these days, with the phones, with the distractions, they're not getting those hours of sleep. So that's going to affect their development. It's going to affect the development of their brain also. Teenagers need about 8 to 10 hours every night. Yeah. So there are some children now that they tend to say that they have some problems with mental health, and some of it is related to sleep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So just to kind of like summarize things now, because I'm going to wrap up soon, because it's not even though there's so much to cover, Carmen, so much to cover. I can't cover it today, but obviously what we can do is we can have a workshop, and they can come to the workshop, and obviously you can subscribe to that and do all that stuff. So I'll just go through a few steps that they need to look into. So when it comes to actually improving, we talked about one, avoid common nutrient deficiencies that can harm us. Vitamin D is one. Vitamin E, deficiency in vitamin D is a problem. Yeah. So what we need to do is to get more vitamin D. Obviously, we need sun exposure. There are fungi, mushrooms, and also there's supplements which are fortified foods also that can get you vitamin D. And all these research have found out common nutrition deficiencies like vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin C, and vitamin B6 actually affect our sleep, and we end up with poor sleep. Yeah? So that's one thing. So the other step is they need to eat more superfoods. Now the superfoods, someone will say, what are superfoods? Now superfoods are things like, Caroline, you mentioned it, cherries, pistachio. Those are the actual peanuts, the kiwi. These are superfoods, and we can tell you more about that when you come to the full workshop. Anything that's magnesium rich too. Step 4 is you plan your evening meals. Do not eat late in the evening, because guess why? Because your kidneys and your livers need to do the work they're meant to do. They don't need to be breaking down your food during the sleep, because now that's going to cause you a problem sleeping. So that's one of the reasons why we say now that your digestive system needs 13 hours of rest. So the ideal time to eat is between 2 to 3 hours of your sleep, before you sleep, so that the body can actually do what it's required. The the kidney can do what it's required. Do that. So Caroline, any questions?
Is your environment important, and especially when you want to go to sleep? Because some people might sleep in different colors. Is it important to have it down, sleep in white? Some people say they have white bed sheets. Does that help?
Well, I don't have the research information on that, but what I would say is that there's certain things that can help you. Research has found that the temperature of your room can improve your sleep, and the temperatures they say roughly are like roughly around about, if you're talking about Fahrenheit, you're talking about 65 degrees Fahrenheit, or you're talking about 18 degrees Celsius. Yeah. Then also darkness will help. So if you have blackout curtains, that will help you. Yeah. So, and then also changing the brightness of the light, and also having a consistent sound, a nice smooth sound to drown out all the sound outside. It's all a constant sound that can help. The things that don't help is scrolling on your phones and your games. Because some of you say, I'm going to sleep. While I'm going to sleep, I'm going to scroll up and check my messages. I'm going to look through TikTok, and then hopefully I'll sleep. Now, that's not a good idea, because that is saying to you, like, you're trying to go to sleep, but it's engaging your brain. You've got to try and disengage from screens 1 to 2 hours before you sleep. Yeah. And then the problem some people have is their partner snores. Yeah. Do your kids crawl into the bed? Some of the people have pets. Yeah. All of these disrupt your sleep and cause you to lose valuable health building sleep. You need to consider minimizing exposure to your sleep interruptions. So I don't know what you're going to do. If your partner's snoring, that's affecting your sleep. If you're halfway through the night, your children call into your bed, that's affecting your sleep. So you've got to find ways of dealing with those disruptions. I hope that answers your question.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yes, thank you.
Great. I'm going to let you ask me any more questions quickly, because I'm going to round up.
Yes. Napping, is that good for you during the day?
Okay, yeah, napping's okay, but you have to. Naps are most beneficial between 15 to 29 minutes. Yeah,
Okay.
they are effective at sharpening our focus and our mental clarity for the remainder of the day. Yeah? So if you feel like you need a longer nap, yeah, that signals that you're not getting enough sleep. So ideally, you're looking at 15 to 29 minutes, less than 30 minutes, but more than 15 minutes. Yeah? Yeah? The best time to nap, if you want to know the best time to nap,
When's
is
that?
after lunch. Yeah,
After lunch.
and
Okay.
after lunch and before 2 p.m.
And before 2 p.m. Okay.
Yeah, so these are the things. So, but the good things the benefits that you get from napping, because some people, I'm a napper. If I come home from work or from my business, I feel tired. So you know what I do? I just set the alarm. Yeah, this is where your alarm would work now. Set the alarm and put it at, say, 25 minutes. Yeah, because you know why I put 25 minutes? Because when you hear that alarm, you're not getting up. So I give it another 3-4 minutes, and then I'm up 29 minutes. Yeah. Now, but the good thing it does is when you nap, and this is if you have a grumpy husband or wife or child, then guess what? Let them nap. Ask them to nap. Because when they nap, what it's going to do, it's going to improve their mood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your mood is improved. Your emotions improve too. Yeah.
Mhm.
It also improves your cognitive performance, your brain. But it also improves your immune functions and decreases in stress, and also increase in creativity. So nap is good.
Fantastic. Let's nap away then.
Okay.
Before 2.
So I'll give you one more question. I'll add you one more question. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, one more question. Yeah. Okay, I'll give you 2 more questions. Give me 2 more questions. Yeah. No.
I
Over
must
to
give
you.
you more questions.
Yeah, give me another question.
Let me see if
Before we just
anyone Are there any people who need extra sleep?
That's a good one.
Yeah. Okay.
Are there people that use extra sleep? I think what you tend to find, people maybe people that are sporty,
Sports
and
people.
they
Yeah.
need to
Flex.
they need to regenerate and repair their muscles. They
Mm-hmm.
would probably be need more sleep. But research also shows that what they find is that people that are type 2 diabetes, yeah, or they have heart disease, yeah, or they have some of these lifestyle diseases, they need more sleep because remember, when you're sleeping, you are rejuvenating and regenerating the body. And guess what? You're detoxifying the body too, from the brain down. Yeah? So that's another reason. Also, remember the simple act of increasing your nutrients, which we've discussed, actually will boost people's immune systems, improve their digestion, and reduce their overall risk of disease. So what you tend to find is, yes, there are people, and the
Yeah.
people, so these are things that there are quite a few people that need a lot of sleep. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions?
Yeah, a lot of people are working harder and longer, and they're taking shift works like nurses, doctors. Does that affect your health? Shift work.
Well,
Mm,
the answer is the real answer
yeah.
is if you're a shift worker, it's not looking good for you. Yeah. Because what they found, research has found that if those nighttime, during the nighttime and during the day, they tend to find that they're more prone to lifestyle diseases like cancer, diabetes, heart disease, Alzheimer's. When I say type diabetes, I'm talking about type 2 diabetes. So, yes, shift workers are in a problem because of that. But the good news for them, good news, if you come onto the workshop and you learn the type of foods to eat, then guess what? Your diet
Mhm.
can compensate for being a shift worker. And you tend to find a lot of shift workers, by research, they find a lot of shift workers do have more prone to lifestyle diseases than people that work in the day, especially at night shift. Yeah?
Oh, all
So
right.
what we
Thank you.
want to do for those, it's not all doom and gloom. What we want to do is we want to make sure the shift workers actually start eating the right foods and having the right nutrients and doing the right things so that their shift work doesn't affect their health. Anything? Does that answer
Yeah,
your question?
good plan. Yeah, no,
Okay.
you've answered all my questions. Thank you,
Great,
Tony.
great, great. So we're gonna
I hope no one's not fall asleep on there on the group.
well, I think I'm finished. I think what I'll
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
is
We did our
we're done. So
yeah.
thank you very much, and everyone on the call, thank you very much. Let me just unmute you
Thank
all so that
you.
maybe I'll give you an opportunity to say a few things. So thank you very much. I've given you opportunities to unmute yourself, so that's good. So thank you very much, Caroline, for those questions. But I think the most important thing is we need sleep, and we need a good amount of sleep to be able to be healthy daily. And sleep, just like when we eat the food, we still need to sleep so that we can actually use the nutrients to help us repair the body. The body is in a constant state of renewal and regeneration. But part of that is you sleeping and allowing your body to do what's required to get you ready for the next day. If you don't sleep enough, then what you're doing is you're not detoxifying enough, which means that when you wake up the next day, you still have toxins in your body. And then if they build up and build up and build up, that's when chronic illnesses can happen. So that's me. Thank you very much for coming on the call. And what I'll say, have a good night's sleep. Bye.